Hey guys, I know this is a different position. I'm actually charging my phone right now, and then I was going to get my little stand to put my phone on, but this little bug is basically sitting, I don't know if you can see that, on my shoulder. So so I decided to stay here. I just wanted to go through the reading with you since I haven't done reading with you and I'm just trying to figure out how to make that work. But I wanted to go back to page 38 and hopefully my arm will be able to hold this while she's on it. But anyway, hope you don't mind the super close up. But page 38, dig deeper, plot, climax, and moral. So the story that you read was the story of Joseph, right? Is this story fiction or nonfiction? How do you know? What did you answer to that? Hopefully you said nonfiction. How do we know that? Because it's from the Bible and all the Bible is true, so all of the stories are true. Good. Now it's number these events in the order that they happened in the story and then draw a star next to the climax. So what was the first thing that you should have put there? Number one was Joseph's jealous brothers sold him as a slave to the merchants. Very good. Number two, Joseph was wrongly put into prison. Hopefully you got that. 3, Joseph explained Pharaoh's dreams. 4, Pharaoh made Joseph second in command. 5, Joseph's brothers realized that he was the ruler of Egypt. And then 6, Jacob and his family returned to Egypt and were cared for by Joseph. And what is the climax? Remember, the climax is where something changes the story around. What was that? And you should have put a star by number 5 when his brothers realized, oh boy, he's the ruler in Egypt. So that's the important part. Good. Why do you think God recorded this story in the Bible? Did you guys answer that one at home? Hopefully you thought that through. I believe that that God wants us to understand that there are going to be tough times. I love that he puts this in the Bible because there's times where we see good things and we see tough things like we're in right now. But those tough things are to help us to grow. And if we handle them correctly, they can become good things for us. They can change things into a good way. So it just shows how God is in control throughout the whole thing. Joseph knew that God knew that Joseph's brothers were going to do this, but also knew that this was an opportunity for Joseph to grow and be stronger. And so God took something that could have been used and meant for evil, but he used it for good. And then the verse Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. And that's a beautiful verse to recognize. God is in control. And if we handle ourselves the right way, like Joseph did, Joseph didn't pout and get angry and hate on his brothers and give them a hard time back. He just let things be, and he did the best that he could with where he was. And it wasn't easy. There were ups and downs. Did you read that in the story? There's, he's his father's favorite. Now he's thrown into a well. He's sold into slavery. But in prison, he gets exalted higher because he's important. Then Potiphar's wife lies about him. And then he is made to be the second in charge. So it went up and down, but he trusted the Lord through the whole thing. Then I quickly wanted to do page 133 and go over that with you, because remember, our summaries are not to be super long. They're supposed to be very short about what we read about through those. So in the beginning, it says, at home, Joseph. And so hopefully you wrote something about at home, Joseph told his brothers of his dream, or at home, Joseph was given special treatment, told his brothers of his dream, and his brothers sold him. Okay, just something very simple like that. So at home, Joseph was dad's favorite. His brothers did not like him very much. Told them of his dream, and then they sold him into slavery. Just 2 or 3 sentences. Don't make it something long. That's why they only gave you so much space. Then in the middle, in prison, Joseph, what? He waited 2 years. He explained the meaning of the dream, of the servant's dream, and then he listened to Pharaoh's dream and explained that as well. So just make it simple. Sorry, my arm is hurting. So Joseph was in prison for 2 years, told the servant's dream, and then told Pharaoh his dream as well. That's all you have to put. Then the end, in the palace, Joseph was second in command, and he helped to keep his family alive. Okay, just something very simple. It says here, was appointed second in command, was reunited with his brothers, forgave them, and moved his family to Egypt. But even if it was just, he became second in command under Pharaoh. He helped his family to be able to provide food for them and have a place for them to live. Okay, that's all that you need to do for those sections. So I just wanted you to think those through very carefully. Then today you were supposed to read pages 40 to 49. And hopefully you read through those pages. It's just for those of you that are readers or that know the movie Charlotte's Web. It's just a little bit of what Charlotte's Web is. And just some background in case you don't know. Wilbur was born at the hog house on the arable farm. At the beginning of the book, Wilbur's life is saved by Fern. Fern's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arable, allow Fern to take care of the pig at her Uncle Homer's farm down the road. Fern is a dear friend of Wilbur's. So just giving a little bit of background as to what this was starting and how this story kind of went. But I just wanted to ask again some questions. Is escape a fiction or a nonfiction story? And then give your explanation using examples from what was in the text. So first of all, we know that this is a fiction. And then from the text, you could see Wilbur thought, there's never anything to do around here. We can't know what animals think, and they don't talk. So that's a couple of different ideas as to how that is a fiction story, because animals don't talk. So if they're talking in the story, it's fiction. It's not a true story. It's not for real. And then describe the setting of the story, escape. So Wilbur lives where? Because remember, the setting is talking about where it takes place, not what's happening or not what people are thinking. It's where the story happens. So they live in a small barn with a small barnyard. Outside the barnyard are woods, grass, an orchard, and a garden. So that's the setting that you would be able to find there. Then you were supposed to turn to page 134 as well and describe the main character. So fill in the blanks describing the main character from Escape on page 40. So what does he look like? Who's the main character? What does he look like? He's a white pig, right? What else? What about how old? You'll write that down. What did he look like? There was something on page 42 that it said about something that he looked like, that he had, that was certain. Okay, so think about that. I won't tell you. I'll let you figure that out. I might come back in another video and tell you if I remember, but I don't think I will. But hopefully you'll get those. But tell what he looked like. Then how does he feel? Page 40, there was a few words that described how he was feeling. And then page 42, his feeling went from those feelings to something else. Then what happened? Page 47, there were a couple of different things that took place on page 47 that he was feeling. And so think each of those through carefully. And then finally, page 49, it was a little more calm, but think about the words that would describe how he's feeling on those. And what's the character's name? The main character is Wilbur. Very good. And how does the character change from beginning to the end? What was he in the beginning? We already said that with how does he feel? In the beginning, he was unhappy. And then towards the end, what did we notice about him? He was happier staying safely inside that fence because he noticed some things. Okay. So when you are doing these, I don't want to give you the answers, but I do want you to think, and I really hope that you thought those through carefully. Don't make it too hard, but just think those through very carefully. All right. So hopefully that gives you a little insight as to what we're looking for. And now you get to see Lady for real. Oh. All right. See you later.